It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with Bentley, America's favorite succulent dog. And it is Sunday Fun Day. And this Sunday, I have spent the entire day out in the garden. And I did a lot of really intense detail work, which is my favorite thing to do. You don't really get, it doesn't really show, but it is the most rewarding thing in the world. But I thought I would give you the highlights, and we could talk about some things that are growing on out here. Excuse me, sir. My mammillaria that I planted in this gorgeous Susan pot, one of them rotted. So, oops. Don't know how that happened. These two are fine, but the third one had collapsed and its innie really turned in, and so I did just a gentle poke on it, or I should say push on it with my clippers, and sure enough, it caved in. So I cleaned that all out. Now I'm just letting this area dry, letting that wound heal. And then we'll see. I mean, this is such a spectacular pot. I really don't know how much patience I want to have in waiting for this to continue to grow. So I might move this into a smaller pot. I'm pretty landlocked in the garden. I haven't really been able to identify anywhere where I could put it in the garden itself. But for now, I'll just leave it here until inspiration strikes, which it did. Hannah's teacup arrangement got a little bit of an upgrade today. When I was puttering around in the garden, look at what I uncovered. This gorgeous Grapta Petalum Ghosty crest. I mean, really, right? It's so great. It was hiding over by the prison wall, and I wanted to showcase it. So I thought, well, I'm just going to cram it right in to the middle of Hannah's teacup arrangement, and the succulent stands up, thus the job is done, and that makes me so happy. I love the look of that, and I get to enjoy that crest. So many things are cresting in my garden right now. I'll show you some more, but first, who can tell what's different around the old waterfall, besides the fact that Greg got a pump? Oh, and we didn't end up having to tear the garden all apart. Greg was able to access the electrical cord really easily after all. So very little disruption occurred, which was awesome. But a couple of things that I did in here today. One, I moved my Talavera lizard over here. He was over there by the perii and just lost. I just never really got to see him or enjoy him. So I moved him. This area right here is still to be determined. But while I was so close, I rolled up my pant legs, took off my shoes, climbed in the pond, and can you see a Talavera mushroom? Yes, you can, because I cut back the undulata a little bit to expose that. And I also took out my Agave Victoria Reginae compacta that was almost buried. Stuck the Aloe Cameronii in its place. Removed a pot with a Agave Quiche can that was right there. Popped in some Fred Ives and just miscellaneous cuttings to fill that hole. And I planted the Reginae compacta in a new spot. I will show you. Isn't that great? I mean, that is the most magnificent plant, isn't it? And it was hidden, absolutely buried back there, and I never talked about it because I never noticed it to talk about it. So I'm sure we'll be talking a lot more about Her Majesty now that she is front and center in the garden, and that just makes me so happy. This is a Agave Quiche con that I planted in this pot a really long time ago, and it has since gotten way too big for that pot. So I've got to get that extracted and also figure out a home for that. I found a pup, a rather decent sized pup, which I planted over here by my Talavera ball. Excuse me, thank you. So this was another area that got something of a facelift today. I pulled the agave quadricolor out of here to give to the Sunset Cliffs client, and that left a big gaping wound, but I also was able to showcase a little better this crested Fred Ives, which is just so cool. I mean, it's a baby, kind of a baby crest. The actual crest isn't, well, there's actually 1, 2, 3, there's 4 or 5 crests growing on this plant, and I'm not exactly sure what it's going to do now that it has been exposed. So I'm just excited to see what happens with this and how it transforms over time. Also found these balloon cactus in a little terracotta pot. I planted these as little tiny guys and stuck them up by the pump on the waterfall 10 years ago, probably. Forgot all about them. And they are so gorgeous now. This is a really, really slow grower. And I'm also noticing that we've got a little pup, baby, growing off of this one right here. So, you know, decisions will likely have to be made about this little terracotta dish. But for now, hello. Bentley's showing me his good side. Excuse me. Rude. Rude. Very rude. I don't want your butt in my face. So for now though, I'm just going to leave those there because they're super cute. So I moved my planted old work boots over there in front of the little table, and I'm really loving that. I also putzed around here under this pergola and cleaned a lot of the bougainvillea leaves up off the ground. And then when I got done pulling up all the bougainvillea leaves, I treated myself to a glass of iced tea with a shot of mango juice and just gazed out at the garden. Let me see that. I just want to show you guys what I saw when I sat down. Right? Just the most beautiful thing. Make sure that you've got places to sit in your garden, because when you sit, the garden takes on a whole different personality, doesn't it? I've got my little wind chime. I used to be able to see the waterfall from here, but now the crassula and the undulata has grown so tall I can't. But that's okay. The garden is really starting to take on some age. One of you asked if I could post a picture of the garden before we really started transforming it. And I have, thank you, I have some, my mother-in-law took some pictures with an old camera. And so I've got some actual photographs of it somewhere, and I am passively looking. I'm not going to tear this house apart, but they exist. I will find them and I will show it to you as soon as I do. One last thing to point out. You might as well just take another look at the roses. I know we just looked at them, but oh my gosh, if it's possible, they're prettier today than they were yesterday. But I started to do some stuff in here. I've been threatening to kind of refigure this raised bed. I've been talking about it for months, but I haven't really dropped the hammer because every time I look at it, it's just so gorgeous and I haven't wanted to mess with it. But when I looked at it today, I noticed that there were actually some plants, nothing special either, like there was an aloe, Crosby's compact, and some crassula growing underneath this crest. And it was starting to infringe and push up on it, and I panicked. So I pulled those plants out, and yeah, I pulled those plants out, and now I'm really inspired to do something different in here. You know, the crassulas, the cotyledon, you know, it's just I don't know. This is just so spectacular. And I just love the driftwood that I think I'm almost there, guys. I think I'm almost ready to do something different. Greg was pointing out all of these funny little air roots, and some of these have actually connected real firmly to the soil. So the plant, in addition to gaining like some extra appendages to help it stay upright, it's also feeding and grabbing water and nutrients from these too. So I don't want to, I'm not ready to mess with all of these air roots quite yet. This little crest here, this offshoot, is kind of a hot mess. See how it rotted right there? And when I got to looking at the actual plant, you know, I don't know about this. We'll see. But if any of you have experience working with crested plants, can I do this? I mean, can I just pull all these little air roots off, because they really bug me? It's not a cute look. And when I pulled those other plants out, you know, it really exposed them, and it's such a hot mess. So my instinct tells me it would be no problem whatsoever to trim all those air roots up. But I'd love to hear from some of you that might have some actual experience doing it before I actually do that. Oh, and so this week coming up, this is Sunday, of course, fun day. I've got some housekeeping to do. I have some consultations. I've got a couple of little maintenances, which of course I'll take you on. But Greg doesn't have a whole heck of a lot going on. So my hope is that he will hang my gutters. And while I have his attention, because he's holding the camera, let me talk with my associate here, and we'll have a little consultation, Greg. I was thinking, rather than doing both of them right here, what if we do one here and one on the other side? Right? This is a lot of fence. It's a whole lot of fence. And my dream and my goal is that those roses will continue to you know, I'm going to train them to come as far across this fence line as they will go. But in the meantime, want to kind of get all the bang for my buck that I can. So what do you think, Greg?
Sure.
You think that would look good? To do one here and one...
Never know until we try, right?
Right, I suppose so. Although I really love the idea of it. So, you know, you'll split the difference here, and then split the difference here.
Okay.
And then I know that's going to mean that this one toward the end will probably be a little bit buried, but I can live with that, and I can work with that, and I can, that's okay. I think that's going to be the best use of space. So, yeah, and then this, the more I look at it, the more disturbed I am. I mean, I put this Crassula ovata in here just as kind of a filler, as a cutting, and it's not doing anything at all for me. This coin plant, Xerosclepus, is got some cool new growth on it. This thing just sat in here and pouted for like, literally years. It's kind of yellow and doesn't look super good, but now it's got some new stuff. So maybe it has finally relented and realizes, well, this is obviously my home, so I might as well thrive. I've got a little propeller plant here. I will be showing you guys in the fall how to work with the propeller plant, how to prune and manage those as they go all flopsy-mopsy. But this whole quadrant needs refigured. So what I'll no doubt do is pull all of the rock out, and then whatever plants are bugging me. I mean, check this out. I've got this variegated aloe in here. How cool is that? Isn't that neat? I don't even know where I got that at this point. But see, under here, it's got a couple pups that are also variegated. Ooh, look at that one. So this needs to be pulled front and center a little more. And this little tomentosa is adorable. And of course, this agavoides is a stunner. My Russia is almost done here. And I'll probably spend another delightful day just deadheading this and satisfying my OCD. My variegated attenuata pup that came from my gorgeous mom hasn't thrilled me. Only half of it's variegated and the other half just reverted. So meh, you know, it's getting a little too big for this bed. So we may make some decisions about this. And then because the roses are running amok, I don't even know what else is back behind there. I think I see an aloe distans, and there's some more tomentosa and some antisyphilitica and a portulacaria, but beyond that, who knows? All right, so it is getting to be about dinner time. I'm going to put our dinner in the oven. Then I'm going to go up and take a long, hot bath with some lavender bubbles. And then Greg and I will probably binge this latest season and final season of Ozark. So I hope you all have a fantastic Sunday afternoon and evening. This has been Laura and Greg and Bentley in our backyard succulent garden in Chula Vista, California, and your succulent tip of the day. Bye, guys.